My talk will be about designing inclusive mobility. I will introduce myself first. My name is Jolien Heeman. I come from the east part of the Netherlands. I have a background as an industrial product designer. I studied that in Enschede, so I'm an engineer from background. And I think that started when I was a really, really little kid. I was always curious about how do things work. Why does it happen when I pull this? Then what is the interaction between a human and a product? And I drew a lot. I liked math a lot. So like industrial design engineering was the obvious choice. So I joined Van Raam at 2007. That's why the story about the three-wheel cycles. Van Raam is a Dutch manufacturer of, we call it special needs bicycles, but I kind of dislike the term because it's not a special need, just a normal need, but I will get into that. And my current position is Director of Product. I've been doing that for a year now, and I will explain a little bit about what we do, what kind of bikes we build, how do we do that, and how we develop. So I hope I will go through that in half an hour. So what do? We build bike, and that enables everyone, despite what you can do, the ability to cycle. So even though if you do not have arms or do not have movement in your legs, we can build you a bike on which you can cycle. So sometimes we produce a bike only one time a year or one time ever, and some of the bikes we produce around 6,000 times a year. So we build around 20,000, 25,000 bikes a year. And we ship them all over the world. Of course, Holland is has a really strong cycling culture, and as you mentioned, we do have really good cycling infrastructure. So Holland is a big country for us, and also Germany is a big country. But we see, like everywhere in the world, more interest in biking solutions. So we come from a background of like the image of handicapped bikes. And for people who are not able to cycle on a regular two-wheeled bicycle, it's really about, we call this target group REA, it's really about getting your freedom back, having your independence, because a lot of the time those people are dependent on other people to bring them somewhere, to take a cab or whatever, to sometimes walk. But if they are able to cycle, they can get somewhere themselves. It's not only getting from A to B, but also the psychological advantage of, sense of independency. So that's really important. So we make three-wheelers, but we also make wheelchair bikes. You see two of them here in the picture, and the right one is more about that segment, like someone is in a wheelchair and you have to get them from A to B. So in this concept, the wheelchair is integrated into the bicycle. It's like kind of part of the bicycle. You can put the back part loose from the front part and then go with the person that's in the wheelchair in the front. But we also have a wheelchair transport bike where you can put the whole wheelchair in front of the platform. And you can cycle around and take the wheelchair off. And that's a wheelchair bike, both of them, but on the left particularly, is being used a lot in care homes where people are bounded to their wheelchair and being driven around to somewhere that's further away than somewhere you can go by yourself in the wheelchair. So this is also about really social purpose. Henk, you showed a picture of the old Geo bike. You have to update that. But this one is a new one. It's I don't know if you ever saw this one on the street. It's a lot on the streets actually in Holland. And this is not. It is about cycling, but the biggest advantage that you have on this bike is being outdoors, enjoying the weather, enjoying a little bit of exercise, and really important the talk you have with each other. So it's really social purpose. Often there's a person that's like the passenger side on the right, that's a little bit lonely. Maybe they live, and older people live by themselves. They're stuck inside the house all day, and we have a lot of volunteers that pick up people and just enjoy like being outdoors for a while. So these types of bikes are also used by a lot of different people, and that's totally different from like you having your own bike for yourself. You know all about the bike. This one is used a lot by a lot of different people, and also on the passenger side, a lot of different people. So it's really like designed to be adjusted to all kinds of people, in just a few seconds. And then coming from like the REA side and the social side, we see a lot of people using our bikes more and more. They're just old people. They do not have like a particular disease or handicap or whatever. They just get a little bit more old, and then they say, okay, I put my two-wheeler aside. I almost fell with it. Sometimes they actually did fell with it and cycle then for, I don't know, 5 or 7 years, not cycling anymore. And they're like, oh, I'm at home all day, really, I want to get out again. So you can see her here on the picture. It's more about practical use. They do not go that far away anymore. So from that target group, I was like, wouldn't it be nice to have like younger people already making a transition to a bike that provides more stability, although they don't really need it yet, but to prevent like accidents from happening and stuff like that. So that's our new like sort of mission. I had to show the picture of the factory because to get a little bit of understanding how we work. This is our factory in Varsseveld in the east part of Holland. We also have a factory in Poland since 2 years because it was not we weren't able to get more staff to work here because we have an area where there's a lot of making industry, so everyone is, we say, fishing from the same pond. I don't know if that's a good saying in English, but so it was really difficult for us to hire more staff here to build the bikes. So that's why we opened also a factory in Poland 2 years ago. But you see here also a test track. We have a showroom here in the main building. It's not that we sell the bikes here. We do that only through dealers. But we see a lot of dealers that lack space of putting all our types of bikes in their showroom. So they send their clients to us. They often come from like really big trips. Also from like the south of Germany, they come to like have a little holiday in Holland and then visit us and try out a bike. So we do that quite a lot, and we can show every possibility here. So that's why we also have a test track, although we are not selling our bikes here. And we have all the production and assembling, everything we do in our own factory. And that's quite like, I think, a little bit of a counter direction from a lot of bigger bicycle brands. They're like outsourcing everything. That's the opposite of our strategy. We are insourcing everything. And if we can do it ourselves, we will do it ourselves. So we make our own wheels, we make our own frames, we have a powder coating, and we have our own assembly lines. Why do we do that? To have like maximum grip on the whole process. So if we want to develop things in a rapid speed and keep developing them further with also, of course, impact from the users in the field, but also like updating visually or whatever. Our belief is if we do it ourselves, we can speed up that process instead of like having really long delivery times, stuff like that. How do we design things? We often use like this method, and I don't know if there are any product. Yeah, I do know there's a few product developers here in the zaal, in the audience. But we use the design thinking method a lot, and I think Van Raam got bigger and bigger and bigger, and like I said, I've been there now for 18 years. We started, when I started there, we were at 45 people. Now we are almost with 300 people. So we decided to split up the R&D department and have a different department. We call that Ideeënfabriek. I think it translates as Idea Factory. And what we do there a lot is learn about users through testing. So I think, of course, everyone who is in product development, I think, recognizes this, that it's not a linear process. You have to keep wondering, is this good enough? What can we do more? How do we make the best solution for our customer? But in the Idea Factory, we also do a lot of things that not with the purpose that we want to do a series production of it, but for the purpose to learn. So it's really about return on learning. This is a picture of the Idea Factory. Now in the picture there are only actual staff, but normally there are a lot of students there. We have about 8, 10, sometimes 12 students working on all kinds of projects. I think, this one gives a little bit of an idea about how that looks. We have our own little workshop where we can weld, where we can do all kinds of stuff to make frames. It's an example of a project here. I think that was really nice because our dual bike in the winter, or if there are no volunteers or there's bad weather, they are stored often in the care homes. And we were like, okay, why is this bike not being used? We cannot find volunteers, or if there is a volunteer, there's bad weather. So it is standing there a lot. And we were like, that's such a pity because it's such a nice bike. Can't we do something with it? So this is also a student who set up like a virtual cycling environment. So there you can, someone can be placed onto the duo bike with like some kind of, the rollerbaan, like you can put it on so you can cycle, but it's not actually going forward. And then just be on there together and cycle, have a nice tour through Amsterdam or whatever with a guide. And you see, that was really funny because when the people got onto the bike, and this is a care home situation, so there's a lot of people who do not come outside a lot, and especially not far away. They are in the village, but to go to Amsterdam for them, it's not possible anymore. So we were like, okay, you can cycle through Amsterdam with a guide, and it was really nice to see the reaction of the person on the bike. Really enjoying. And then when the virtual guide said, "Oh, you have to keep cycling," and they were like, "Oh," and then they talked back to the virtual guide. It was really, really great. So we do a lot of different projects. I think I have a few more pictures of projects such as that. For example, this one. It was really about also social interaction between people. We called it a burger bike. Burger is a Dutch for civilian. And we were like, okay, you have to be able to sit on there with like 3 or 4 people. So you have a few benches on them. But you're also able to cycle. And it's not about like cycling around with a lot of people. It's more about, when you are in a neighborhood, like for my personal situation, I have 3 young kids. but we are rather isolated in our neighborhood, because when I was a kid, I grew up in the same village I live in at the moment myself. When I grew up, we had like a lot of neighbors, always in contact. When our mom wasn't home, we ran into the house of the neighbor. But since now, like, a lot of people are working throughout the day, I think that a lot of families, all kinds of families, are more isolated, and they do not have that much of contact with each other. So we thought, wouldn't it be nice to have like a social gathering place that's not always in the same spot but can move around, and just go there when you want to talk to someone or you just want to meet someone. Kids can play on it, elderly people can sit on it and talk to each other. And so we did a test of this in the city of Doetinchem. This is actually, I don't know how you say that, wijk, like someone from the government. So they really liked the concept. So this is just an example of us testing out a lot. What can we do to, improve the quality of people's lives through cycling? So back to the story that I started, like, this is the target group. At least in my opinion, we really would love to reach. These people are just retired. They take care of their grandchildren 2 days a week, so they are really involved into the lives of their children and grandchildren. They often also do volunteer work, like at the soccer club, like this. These people keep our society running, I guess. So they also, of course, Dutch people, but people all over the world like cycling. But they are getting a little bit more hesitant. You can see this. I really like this picture. It's just it's not my own, but it's a Google picture with this lady in particular. Like, okay, we have to turn left, and you see like the in her face, like, oh, it's kind of spannend. She's a little bit anxious, challenging about, okay, how are we going to make the turn? And when you get in situations like this is actually Utrecht. We are in Utrecht today. So, but for those person, it's not possible to cycle here. And I did put a picture of the fat bikes that was mentioned earlier, because we hear that a lot. Like, there's a lot of, especially with the fat bikes. I think it's actually a cool product. Of course, it's not cool that they. Get into a lot of like accidents and stuff like that because they're going so fast. But it is nice that we got a new take on bicycles, at least from my perspective. But you see that this target group, like, increasingly, like, I have to react on all those things. It's not about the cycling itself, because when you just cycle, it's okay, but with all the interaction and stuff going around them, it's really difficult. And you see here in Holland, we have a lot of articles that are about safety for more elder people. And of course, it would be really nice if we can fix it with infrastructure and surroundings and bigger cycling paths. But before we are there, I think it will take quite a time. So what we then try to come up with in our idea factory, we start working on this case, and we were thinking about, okay, how can we make cycling more attractive, like on a adapted cycle, when you don't need it particularly yet. So we started to look at cargo bikes, and these are a few that are on the streets a lot in neighborhoods, like when kids' schools. You see, like, this is the new, kind of. Oh, look at my really cool new cargo bike. Such a I'm a sustainable person. I do not use my car anymore. So this is associated with, doing the good stuff. And like, I think I do not use this type of cargo bike, but I do use a rickshaw cargo bike we make at Van Raam to cycle with my kids. But this is like normalized in the streets. So we started to think also together with our group of students, and one of them, like a graduate student from the technical university, came up with this idea. Like, okay, what if we make like a small cargo bike? It's a three-wheeler, so we can like make sure that someone who has to drive it gets all the stability they need when they are coming in a situation like they have to brake fast or whatever. You do not have to get off your bike, but you have the stability of the three-wheeler, so you can just stay on the bike and cycle on. So we thought that was a really nice idea, and then we got into like a really long period of a lot of sketching and how what should it look like, what is important, because we thought, okay, a cargo bike doesn't have a stigma, but when we started testing it on the streets with a lot of elderly people, it actually did have a stigma. Like, everyone was telling us, it's for young people, it's not for me, it's for young people, because they have a really strong association with the transportation of young kids. So we were like, okay, we have to like make a new take on the cargo bike and make it really small, like the box in front, so that it's not perceived as, I have to transport a lot of goods in it. So, and I think that this picture is rather nice because it shows how simple it can be when you want to first test your ideas. It's not about all fancy stuff. Sometimes it's just about cardboard and tape, and try some things out and get an understanding of how big is this when I have this in front of me, instead of looking at it on the screen as a lot of students do. So of course we also had to build a lot of prototypes. We call it working models, to test the stability, to make that like really, really, really good. And for our target group to be able to be secure on the bike and just enjoy the ride. So these are a few pictures about of the designing process, and then we came up with this prototype. It is quite, I think, a good prototype because it looks looks almost finished. But we and this was, I think, 1.5 years ago. So we did like a really intensive phase of testing. This is a picture of myself, but we also visited a lot of our dealers and end users and talked to a lot of people about this idea, also on the streets. I think that's, for me, that's like one of the, like the most, where you get the most feedback. Just ask random people on the street if you see these bikes. This was like the prototype, and we had a few of our other bikes with us. When you look at these bikes, what do you see? What comes up in your head? What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And when you let people just talk about your concept, it's like a vulnerable position, because you get a lot of feedback, of course, and everything they do not like, you hear that as well, but I think you want to hear that. So we talked about this bike a lot, and then we made the design final. And I think that's the last picture here. This is the end look of the bike, and we are now producing it since a few months, selling it, and we really get a good response on it from a lot of people that are like, okay, this looks like a bike I want to cycle. And so we want to like shake off a little bit of the handicapped stigma and make it more attractive and less big of a hurdle for people to get on a bike, to prevent the accidents from happening, to prevent people from getting really anxious and stay on their bikes and enjoy their lives. That's it, I guess. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jolien. I have visited the factory actually in Varsseveld.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, if you are in that corner of the Netherlands, go and see them, because it's amazing what they do at the Van Raam factory. Because you have talked mostly about the series production and the product development, but also the individual, custom-made work. Whatever disability you have, whatever limb you may be missing, Van Raam can make you a solution that enables you to cycle. And that's indeed about inclusiveness. And we see so many people in inner cities on these, these electric scooters, disability scooters, whereas these people could actually cycle with the help of Van Raam's products. And it's also cargo bikes. Even if the cargo is a person, it's still...
It is.
Anyhow, questions for Jolien. Rome.
Thank you. It was very interesting to hear more in depth about your company. One picture especially stood out to me, and it was the picture of your factory. And it was one element, and I'm wondering if there were more people who also took notion to that element. But there were a lot of parking spaces around your factory. And that stood out for me because you promote cycling accessibility. So I was wondering, do you also have measures to promote cycling, not only for your clients, but also for your colleagues, employees?
We actually do have a leasing possibility for our colleagues, but we are in a that's a really good excuse, but it's a rural area, so a lot of people come from a big distance, and we unfortunately do not have like good public transportation in this area, so it's for me also, I live, I think, 13 kilometers away from the factory, but public transport, not possible at all. So, I cycle, but a lot of people are like, I take the car. But that's true, I know, it's sad.
From Bury St Edmunds.
Yes, I'm Libby from Bury St Edmunds in the east of England. Thank you for your presentation. I'm involved in a project that tackles social isolation. We have 3 Van Raam bikes, 2 chats and a wheelchair transporter. They're used 6 days a week, every day. We have 40 volunteers. They love riding them. The passengers find them very comfortable. We have had problems with reliability and durability. I think that may be to do with our British roads being very terrible. But I wondered if there's a part of your product development that could include us end users in the UK, because we're finding the same problems with the 3 bikes, and it would be really useful to be able to talk to you. We've struggled to do that through the dealerships.
Yeah, of course. Maybe we can get in touch after the present. Yes.
Hi, my name is Martin. Thank you very much for your presentation. I work for Adam Mickiewicz University in Poznań, Poland. So I have a question about your factory there. So Poland is not very famous for its cycling culture, to say it euphemistically. So I was wondering, does your factory has any influence on your own employees? Are they more interested in cycling, in your product? Do they use it? Things like that.
Our own employees?
Yeah, from the factory in Poland.
No, I don't think so, unfortunately. I think that the choice for Poland is about also the German country of Germany and being able to supply there, to deliver the bikes there. But I think that the Polish work ethics are also totally different from the Dutch, and where we like when people come visit our factory to visit the factory, but visit the showroom to do a test ride. We always, if they want, take them through the factory on the bike they are testing. Just also for them to see how does the production of the bike, how does it work? And then, but in Poland they also do not do that. We do not have, because we started the factory only 2 years ago. We are expanding it now, and we are also building a test track there, so people can do so maybe when they see people enjoying it more, they maybe attract them as well. I don't know. Let's hope.
I think there's some positive news from Poland. We welcomed the first national Polish Fietsersbond just a couple of months ago to our organization. We had the Velocity conference in Gdansk, and we see that a lot of stuff is happening in Poland, not least also in bicycle tourism. Routes are being developed, and I can encourage everyone to go cycling in Poland because it's much better than you think.
The roads are not so crowded, so you can enjoy also the silence and loneliness in cycling. But yeah, a lot of things, good things are happening.
Hi, I'm Peter Hepburn. I'm from product development at Giant Group. You talk a lot about the older generation, and I wonder how you see that in the next 10 to 15 years of the development of this target group, especially with aging populations, but more of the older generation, aging population coming from more of an e-bike background than an analog background, and how you see this target group evolving in the future.
Yeah, I think this target group will only grow. As you mentioned, the number of people are growing, and I think that I think it's really nice that there's a lot of investment also in European level on cycling infrastructure. So it's also enables them to cycle more, because I think that's a big problem not only for two-wheelers but especially for three-wheelers. And I think that like 15 years ago, we already made like electric bikes, and that electric bicycle was not that standard back then. So our bikes were more expensive than any other bike. So they came from, you said acoustic two-wheeler, and then having to transfer to an electric three-wheeler. So the price difference was huge. I think that that gap is also closing. I don't know if that's the price of like bicycles is also, at least in my perspective, like increasing a lot. I think would also be nice if we could, like as a whole bicycle industry, take a good hard look at what is really necessary to put on the bikes. To maybe scale down a little bit again, because then otherwise it's for a lot of people it's not accessible anymore. But I think like the last speaker also got the question about sharing. I think that's also a really good possibility. Also in terms of sustainability, it would be really nice if we could like divert a little bit from the linear economy direction we are in at the moment, and share bikes more. So I think that if we have more older people, I don't know, I think in Holland we have a lot of people that staying in their own homes for quite some time. And we have, it's called mantelzorg, like that your own family or friends have to take care of you. So that's a little bit more challenging from the sharing perspective, because when you have a lot of old people living together, then it's easier to share. But yeah, I think the group will grow, and I think because of people are able to cycle longer on their e-bike, they are more cycle-minded. So it would be really nice if they could just keep doing that. So I think there's a big potential there.
Thank you.
Last two questions. Last one question then.
Hi, Jolien.
Hi.
You know me, but I work at Ride today. We operate sharing bike schemes in the US and do cargo bike rental in Vienna, the Netherlands, and Germany, or Belgium also. And I wanted to ask you, since this is a very, since you do very inclusive bikes, and also I wanted to tune in on the sharing. Do you consider also putting bicycle as sharing bikes available? Because when you see the model shift we do with people going around from public transport, but then they have to go on an OV feeds, for instance, and they're not able to. Is it also, are you looking into putting like your new bicycle on the streets, for instance?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting direction, and it's really challenging for us to design something that can really be used by everyone, and also make that not too expensive. So that's like always a fine line. But yeah, I don't know if you know the "Don't be gentle, it's a rental" phrase. So it's yeah. So it's challenging, I think, because the user needs within this target group are really diverse. So to make something that can be used by, like in a share, the social bikes are more prepared, I guess, for that. But the single person bikes, I think it's a challenge. But of course, we are always looking in that direction. Yeah.